Yo, what's up? The Sports Bag Bros podcast is back at you on a Monday, coming off of another busy sports weekend. It's almost incredible how these weekends go by, or even days go by. You're kind of wondering if something's going to happen because we're coming towards that dead period of sports where once the NHL is over with, once the NBA finals are over with, then you only have baseball and the All-Star game to look forward to before everyone kicks everything off next month when there's college SEC Media Day, Big Ten Media Days, and then the pros are going to get it together at the end of the month. But now, every day something has happened. Last night, we're here on Monday. Last night, the NBA Finals went into its second game between the Celtics being at home against the Dallas Mavericks. And the same result from the first night happened on the second night, but a little bit closer. Well, actually, a lot closer, but still 2-0 nonetheless. Now we have the Celtics going on the road against Dallas. Dallas having must-win games already. I thought yesterday was a win game anyways, but here we are.
Well, I think what we talked about is playing itself out. I mentioned the Celtics have more guys who can get their own shots. We talked about maybe Dallas might have the best two players, definitely the best one, but then after that, it's Celtics, like 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6. And game one was Porzingis. Yesterday was Drew Holiday. And maybe Dallas fans, they can hang their head on, well, Kyrie hasn't had a good game, and he's going to play better at home. And that may be true. But also, Tatum hasn't been shooting well.
Nope.
If he starts knocking down his shots, that takes Boston to a whole nother level. And I want to go in on Nick Wright or Nick Wrong.
They wrong again.
He's been calling. He didn't call him trash, but he's been saying he hasn't been playing well. That's wrong, because when you get 11 assists and 9 rebounds, you're playing well. He's just not shooting well.
Yep.
His shots aren't falling. There's a big difference.
He started off well yesterday. He hit that first 3-pointer. I thought, okay, he's back on track now. We saw how they were ahead. It looks like they were going to finally do something on the road. But then the Celtics slowly but surely came back. This time they didn't need Porzingis to put in some superhero type of a game. We saw what he did in the first game. We weren't expecting it. He's been out for 38 days.
You couldn't tell he missed any time.
No time at all. 38 days with a leg injury, so you can't really do anything on your feet. You can't really keep your cardio up. You can use an elliptical, but it's still going to put some kind of strain on your calf if that's the injury. Mm-hmm. But he comes back in, and that guy had probably the most dominant 20 minutes of game playing after an injury I've ever seen, and it was noticeable, and it was the complete difference. He set the tone, and it was like the Celtics didn't have to look back, and the Dallas had to scratch and claw. They would get close, but I think they put too much energy into catching up, and then it went right back to the big lead again, and the Celtics just took off from there.
Yeah, I was stunned by Porzingis.
Yes,
his play. It wasn't just that he was knocking down shots; he was blocking shots.
Bro, the blocks.
Hustling on the fast break to block the dunk. He didn't show no indication of any type of leg injury, and it's unfortunate that it crept up on him yesterday. You could tell something happened, and hopefully it's not serious, but I think going forward, his play is going to be affected. But Thursday night, man, that you talk about having a signature game in the finals. The unicorn was on the loose.
He was on loose on the first day on Thursday. He was just in it. He was in his bag. He was in their bag. He snatched their bag, used it against them, palmed their bag in front of their face. He did it all. And right now, the way they played yesterday when he wasn't as effective, you know what? I really wasn't expecting him to be that effective yesterday, getting back. After being out for 38 days and you do get into that game play and you play the way that he did, because he really exerted himself. He really let himself stand up on that first game, just 20 minutes, but it was a hardcore 20 minutes he was in there for the first time around. I figured he would be a little sore in the second game. And if any kind of ailment was still kind of lingering, I guess the adrenaline kind of wears off and it probably shows itself. You push yourself a little too hard and those little nagging things kind of show up again. It takes some time, but I thought he wouldn't be as effective in the second game because of that. But they showed they could win without him. But if you look at the numbers and you watch the game, you can see Luka went 50% from the line. And then you look at the team as a whole, missed 8 free throws. guess what? They lost by 7. They lost this game at the free throw line. I know Luka took it upon himself to say, you know what, I got to do better. But, bro, everybody else around you has to do better as well.
Yeah, they're not shooting the ball very well right
No.
now. Yeah, he's taking responsibility. He's probably looking at his 8 turnovers. He's got to try and cut those down. But when you have the ball as much as he does, kind of like Caitlin Clark, you're going to have turnovers. But he's been getting the ball stolen from him at half court.
Yeah.
He had a pass tipped, and then he got the ball back, and he threw a lob pass that I think White stepped in front. I mean, that was a terrible pass. Once he got it back, because I think Holiday tipped it, he went back and got it, and then he just threw it up. He should have found someone else that was open, or at least not thrown a lollipop pass. So he's being a bit careless at times with the ball.
Yeah.
So he can clean that up. But if Gafford and Lively aren't doing their thing and Kyrie's not hitting his shots, they're in trouble. Luka's going to have to drop 45 to 50 if that's the case.
Yeah, because yesterday Doncic puts up all this time and puts in the effort, even with all the turnovers, and they lose by just 7 points, but it still came down to the free throw line. If you look at the numbers that really looked like it reflected what was going to happen or ended up happening, I mean, how many times are teams going to go 100% from the free throw line? Not very much. But yesterday, the Celtics only missed 1 free throw out of the entire day. So, hey, they got close enough to it. But when you look at how you lose by 8 and then you look at you lose by 7 and you miss 8 free throws, then you could see that, things had to be better. But overall, everyone did play better. You look at Kyrie as a point guard, he did what he should have done and could have done, but those shots dropping would have been the difference between them still being talked about as the best backcourt in basketball, either in recent memory or even just this season, and, well, another loss and going down 0-2 back to Dallas.
So I believe on Thursday I talked about how the Celtics can run different guys at Luka.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I mentioned that they can do that to Kyrie as well.
Yeah, that's true.
At times White's on Kyrie, sometimes it's Drew, sometimes it's Brown. And you get a fresh set of legs guarding you, and it can wear down. It can wear you down, especially if your shot's not falling. If you're knocking your shots down, it ain't gonna matter who's guarding. You start feeling it, the adrenaline's pumping, and you're like, yeah, you better get someone else on me, and then you just go to work on him. But right now, or at least in games 1 and 2, they've had him bottled up pretty much.
Yeah, but do you think this goes back to Kyrie being the older guy? The backcourt as a whole is looking like, I don't know about transcendent, but they're definitely reminding people of great backcourts of the past, not just this era here, but even past eras. I've been hearing a couple of times, one of the greatest ever, maybe the greatest backcourt ever, but Kyrie's the older guy of the backcourt. And it seems like if you're going to go after anyone or if you're going to try to wear someone down, it would be him. And right now, they're coming after him, and he's not getting the points. He's doing other point guard things, but apparently it's not enough. Whereas Luka is doing all of these things Luka can do. He can score, he can get the rebounds, he can get the assists. He's turned over the ball a lot last year. He's calmed down on it this year. But now that it counts, he's turning it over again, and he seems like he can't overcome his own mistakes, even if he gets more points. And this is why they ended up 0-2 now.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with age. I mean, look at Holiday. I think Holiday's older than he is.
Yeah, but Holiday's not relied upon game after game to give you what Kyrie is supposed to give you as part of that backcourt. Kyrie's supposed to be able to be consistent enough.
But they expect him to lead the charge on defense, and he does.
Absolutely. And he plays his defense. And we talked about the defense that he brings. And offensively, we said he can do the same thing because he did it with Chris Middleton when he was in Milwaukee. Those two were kind of trading days of who's going to have the big game in their championship year, who's going to have the big game and do more than they're supposed to. They were trading off with it. And then ultimately, they both got it together, and they got themselves a championship. Obviously, Giannis being the guy leading the way there. But now here, he's been that defensive stalwart, and now you got a chance for him to do it again. But the offense comes out, and he's rewarded that way. He's the dominant guy on the team. They have multiple guys, and Jason Tatum still, I thought this would be his series for doing what he's been brought in to do. and supposedly the leader of that team, offensively, allegedly talent-wise, at least according to everybody except for Jason Kidd, who's saying that Jaylen Brown is the dude trying to kill the chemistry in the locker room. You know how the egos work. Mm-hmm. Do you believe what Jason Kidd said? Do you believe that he believes what he's saying, or is he just saying it, trying to get that mental edge, get those guys kind of questioning themselves and getting those egos kind of checked in the other locker room?
Yeah, he's a coach. He's got to, do what he has to do. Do what coaches do. Try and get in the opponent's head. Try and lift up his own guys. But while you were talking, I was reminded of what Pat Riley once said going against Philly. I believe it was Clint Richardson. He had one game where he dropped like 17 or 18. He was knocking down open shots. And after the game, he's like, if I have to devise a plan to stop Clinton Richardson, we're done. Because you got Dr. J, you got Moses, you got Andrew Toney. Like, we're concentrating on these guys. If he's going to drop 18, and that's the case with Drew Holiday. Are you going to devise a plan to stop Drew Holiday now? Because he had 18 points in the paint. He dominated the paint as a 6'5" guard. But if you're Jason Kidd, you're not scratching your head like, damn, how do I stop Drew Holiday? Because if you focus on Drew Holiday, now Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown get loose. And, I love Drew Holiday. Yeah. But I don't see him dropping 40, whereas Brown and Tatum can drop 40 on your head.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes in a game like this, especially if it's this close, that one guy who's probably not really configured to do the offense, who's brought in as a defensive guy who can intermittently give you offense, 15, 20 points is still more than enough because you think the other guys are going to still do what they're supposed to do. Jason Tatum still hasn't done what he's known to do on a consistent basis. I don't even think he's hit his season average this year in any of the games so far in the playoffs. Maybe he has, but they're still winning without him. Now it's going to go on the road, and now it kind of goes back to what we said about the Celtics more than once. Do they have that screw-up game that they typically have in the series? Last year and this year, they have that game that they probably just blow. They don't do well at all. The only time it really worked was against Indiana because they were so much better than Indiana. Even in their bad game where they were down 15 at the half, they still were able to come back and win the game and sweep them.
Well, if you think about it, that poor game, it was probably last night. They didn't shoot the ball well last night.
Yeah, neither team shot well.
We talk about Holiday having 25 and 10. He had a big game, but Tatum's not shooting the ball well. Jaylen Brown didn't go off for 30 or more. Porzingis didn't do what he did in game one. The game was there for the taking for Dallas.
Yeah, it was.
I just think Boston's defense, they may not be getting enough credit right now.
But this was a defensive team anyway. I mean, the defensive makeup has been there for more than one season, more than two seasons. Back to Brad Stevens when he first came. So the defense has always kind of been in place. It's just that they've become more offensive, but they still have somewhat of a defensive identity, being the second highest scoring offensive team in the NBA. Only Indiana's ahead of them. We saw those two get together, and they've swept them out of there. This looks like it has a lot of the same makeup. If Dallas loses the third game, I mean, the way that Boston's already kind of shown the template of doing things the way they've done it, that fourth game looks like it's probably has sweet material. It's kind of making you lose, other than being a Dallas fan, it's kind of making you kind of lose interest in the game. I turned away from the game yesterday for a little while.
Did you?
Yeah. I mean, in the beginning, it was okay.
I can understand you turning away game one. That one, that one got out of hand.
Porzingis kept me that game. Porzingis, man, the way he was playing, he kept me that game. The way he was shooting, the way he was just going about it on both ends of the floor. But yesterday, I just turned away from it, man. It got not boring. It just it seemed like, okay, we see that even when they were behind, we knew that the Celtics were going to come from behind and give us the result they gave us yesterday. It was just a matter of how much they were going to blow them out by, if they were going to blow them out, or how much they were going to win by if they win like they did yesterday by 7 points.
Yeah, but the Mavs, they actually had got it down to 5. They just couldn't come through and crunch time. They couldn't finish the job.
And it was different from the previous time they played when they were able to claw themselves back, I think, to within 7, and they just couldn't keep it up. And they fell right back down, 7 or 8, and they went right back because it took so much energy to come back after what Porzingis opened the game with, and everybody else was kind of following suit. Jason Tatum still. And by the way, Al Horford can't hit a three when he's wide open. All of a sudden, this guy who's averaging over 40% for the season from three can't hit a three when he's wide open. He hits them every now and then, but I was expecting a little bit more consistency almost any time, especially when you see him alone at the perimeter.
Yeah, I don't know. He might just be going through a bad streak. Maybe getting away from home, all the distractions we've talked about in the past, ticket requests, your family.
Yeah, we know how that goes.
Wanting to know things or telling you things. Go on the road. The team's a little more unified, less distractions. And maybe he finds a shot again.
All right, now they have some travel dates. They're going to head to Dallas. Hell, it's a must-win situation for Dallas. I still think yesterday was, just based on the makeup of Boston's team, they're just better than them. I think you still just talk about two players when you talk about Dallas. You still talk about five players sometimes, if not most, when you talk about the Celtics that can do whatever they want when they want. They proved it in the first game, had an off night last night, proved it in the second game. Now they go on the road. They have that travel time. Dallas in front of a home crowd. Two guys still got to be the guy. They need a third guy. Likely has to be the third guy, you think?
Lively?
Likely.
Yeah, he definitely has to step up. He's been nearly MIA, but Derrick Jones hasn't shot well. PJ Washington hit some big shots against the Timberwolves, and he's not making shots.
Playing defense, though. He doing some good defense.
He better play defense when he's shooting like he is. But maybe they same thing for them, going home, sleeping in their own bed.
Yeah.
A little more comfort. You got the home crowd on your side now instead of yelling at you. And who knows, maybe that Boston crowd might have affected Kyrie, going back. And then he had the comment, "Oh, I thought it was going to be louder." Bad move, bro.
He was just talking. Man. He was just talking.
I'm just saying, you don't even say that. Like, he could have thought it, or maybe that's how he really felt. But he didn't have to say it, because now you're just challenging the crowd to be that more hype, more loud and crazier.
But
so I can imagine the things they were saying, not just loud. I'm sure they had a lot of venom for him as well.
Now, he came as a hated person because of what he had done and all that nonsense, and that's why they were coming after him. And, whether he had said something or not, I thought they were going to boo like they usually do every time he touches the ball. Boo, do that nonsense. And especially after he said that after game one, I thought they would come in game two and at least pick up and do that. They didn't do it the first or second game. But now we have kind of sort of the reverse, but not in a hateful way. Porzingis coming back to Dallas. It was once he and Luka, Batman and Robin, or he wanted to be Batman and Batman, but he couldn't get it done there. So that's why he was traded up there, and now he's coming. He's here, coming back home.
Yeah, that's a topic not a lot of people touched on. Like, we almost forget he was in Dallas with Luka, right?
Yeah. When Luka was injured,
when he was dropping 20 on him in the first half, I was like, damn, I forgot. This could be a revenge game for him too.
Yep.
He probably was looking at Mark Cuban trying to find him wherever he was.
Yeah, right.
But other than the block shots, and he splashed a couple walk-up threes that I didn't think he was going to hit, everything else were mismatches, mostly from the free throw line.
Absolutely. I saw the mismatches.
Like when you're 7'3" and there's a 6'4" guy on you, you just pull up and shoot over.
Easy.
That's what he was doing.
Shot anyway.
Dallas made it very easy for him. They had all these smaller guys guarding him, and he wasn't really challenged on a lot of his shots.
So now, he's going back.
It's almost like the coach in warm-ups who stands there with his hands up, not really trying to guard you or block the shot. That's
practice.
They're like warm-up jumpers,
So I don't think he comes back to the animus of the crowd, because I don't think he left on a sour note anyways. He says he's been through all of this before anyway. He's been with the Knicks. He's been down there. He's in Boston. So he's been to different teams. He's heard everyone's booing, coming to the Garden. He didn't get booed at the Garden, I don't believe. I mean, Yeah, some people that may have, but he left on I wouldn't say the greatest note. It was more his brother that was causing a lot of issues up there than it was just him. But then he goes to Dallas, and it was just a little bit of going back and forth between he and Luka deciding who was going to be the lead dog. Well, the young dog would be the lead dog who got picked early. Got picked early for that franchise, and so he didn't leave with. And he scored a lot of points when Luka was injured that year, but they still lost games. And they said he couldn't carry a team, so that kind of helped in the way of him leaving. But I don't think he comes back with animus. But I think if he's not injured or if that lingering injury isn't a problem, he comes back and just does what he does in game one, or tries to do what he did in game one. But it's up to those guys. The onus is on Dallas to get this to at least 2-1, and then hopefully 2-2 for them, at least for their sake, in the fifth game, the fourth game.
Right. They have to make adjustments. I'm not sure. I told my friend yesterday, because we watched the game Thursday night, and then I had people over for my birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
We had a little cookout, and then we watched the game. But I told him Thursday night, I really didn't see any adjustments defensively that Dallas could do, and I think that speaks to Boston's balance with so many guys being – yeah, you can't just focus on one or two guys, because White can kill you from three. We saw what Drew Holiday did in game two.
Yeah.
And then Porzingis off the bench. Hopefully he's healthy. I don't know, but Boston, they're a tough team to deal with. You can't just focus on one or two guys. A lot of guys can get you.
Yeah, they got 5 of those guys. It seems like when those guys have a chance to be on the floor at the same time, they have 5 of those guys. And like you said, the matchup issue, it's not a matter of can they match up. Well, they really can't man for man. They don't have enough guys to do it. And then the Porzingis matchup, they have absolutely no one for him. He's already a great shooter for his height. He's a damn good shooter already. And you have these 6'4" guys trying to guard him, or even with 6'6" guys trying to guard him. He easily makes that shot, especially when he gets in that little paint area, man. He just that's his spot.
Right. And you mentioned Horford not being able to shoot. Okay, so that's the guy we're gonna leave. We're gonna live and die with Horford shooting the three, right? But Horford, in his long career, he's proven he can shoot the three.
He can, yeah.
And it could be in game 3, he goes 5 for 8. And then Horford found the shot again. And then all the talk's going to be, who do you stop on Boston? Because it's Porzingis, then it's Holiday, and tonight is Horford.
See, now that's bad. That's a nightmare for them. That's the complete nightmare scenario for them, because when Boston has all those players that everybody seems like they can score at any given time, as well as they've played, yes, they didn't play as well, but as well as they played as a whole so far in the playoffs, it's never really been everyone on the same page. It's been a lot of people on the same page, but there's a glaring weakness in another page, that didn't necessarily stand up and do whatever, but they still got the win because of it. Now, Horford starts playing, and he starts doing what he's in there to do. And, he's not like a Robert Horry. He's actually there for some time on the court. He's not just coming in like the last 3 minutes and trying to get the 3-point shot. This is like big shot Al Horford for the entire game a lot of times. For an old guy his age, the dude's still dropping 20, 25-minute games.
I don't know. I think you're throwing shade at Horry. He played more than the last 3 minutes.
I mean, come on. His reputation came.
He was part of the teams, man.
No, he was definitely part of those Houston Rockets team. He was definitely a part of those teams.
I'm just saying he wasn't all right, well, 2 minutes left. We need a 3.
That game is close.
He played, man. He played.
Yeah, but at least he's not one of these delusional guys that says he belongs in the Hall of Fame because he has so many rings. That's what he even said it himself. But I mean, no shade at Robert Horry, man. Who could not like Robert Horry? Come on now, other than the teams that he put out of the playoffs with his 3-point shooting.
Sacramento.
Those teams. But this is what we have now. Going to Dallas, down 2-0. It's going to be up to them, as it has been already, for them to get out of the mess that they put themselves into. Guys are going to have to step up. Guys are going to have to be better than even expected, including Kyrie and probably even Luka, because you got to cut down on the turnovers, and you still got to do the assist thing, the rebound thing, and still get the point things, because ultimately, the way their team is made up, it may just come down to those two really having to put it up. They did the Talcum twin thing before, 36-36. They may have to do it again to carry the team.
Well, you asked me about Lively earlier.
Yeah.
I think you gotta give Boston credit because if you remember that T-Wolf series, Lively and Gafford were getting like 3-4 alley-oop dunks each
Yeah,
game, just about. And Boston, they haven't totally eliminated that, but they've slowed them down a lot. There aren't as many alley-oop easy buckets coming those guys' way anymore.
because at least they have a defensive mentality, I guess, to be able to slow that thing down. They have picked up the offense because they have guys who have a whole bunch of offense, but offensive guys who are willing to play defense. And that's anyone in the NBA, in my opinion. These guys are so athletic that if they did decide to play defense, we'll see some excellent defense. You just happen to have a disciplined enough team in Boston to where these guys who are offensive can play defense and they're willing to play defense for the betterment of the team, and we're getting this result. In the past two series now, we're talking, come on, Boston's like 6-0 in the past 46 games.
6-0 in the past what?
6 games. They swept Indiana,
yeah.
and now they just got 2-0 lead
More
here.
than that because they won the last game of the series before that.
Yeah. But, I mean, just if you look at just the recent 6 games, 6-0 right now, and it doesn't look like.
Yeah, and it's the first time the Mavericks have lost back-to-back games in the playoffs. So, they're dealing with something they haven't had to deal with in the playoffs. So, but going home, that could be the remedy the doctor prescribes.
That desperation.
We'll see.
And Jason Kidd, man, come on, man. This is the guy who's been there, done that himself. And as a coach, I think that really helps. There are very few coaches who have won championships or have been great players that coached their teams to a championship game, and their coaching was really the difference. He's one of these guys as a former point guard whose coaching is going to have to be the difference. And you have 2 field generals on the team to help you along with it. But we'll have to wait and find out once those 2 get together.
You know what else I noticed?
What?
He doesn't like to call timeouts to stop a run. Like the Celtics hit a couple threes in a row. They pushed the lead to 9. And
momentum.
You're expecting the timeout. No, he just plays or lets them play. I think he expects Kyrie and or Luka to make a shot to end the run. And when they don't make a shot, here comes Boston. And before you know it, the lead's up to 12, 13. And when he could have stopped the bleeding earlier. And now they got to come back from further back.
Well, early in the game yesterday, Boston had to do a little bit of that because Dallas was going on their little runs in the beginning. It was 10-13, somewhere around there. And they called the timeout themselves because it was looking like it was trying to get out of hand. And they kind of reeled it back in. And before you know it, they were back ahead. And, it was a competitive game, but you had a lot of missed shots on both sides because Luka was missing threes like crazy too. Like he was missing his free throws. So he wasn't hitting it like he was hitting it in previous series and previous games. But once again, it's up to them, as it always is and should be. This is the NBA Finals, man. I wonder how the ratings are. I don't think I really checked on the ratings to see how many people are really interested in this, especially after the first game. And, I don't look at these conspiracy theories of people thinking that the NBA wants just big market teams. Well, Dallas is a big enough market team, and Boston, hell, is up there with some of the best markets in the world and a legendary franchise. But I don't think it has that vibe, man. I don't see enough people talking about it. I don't hear enough people talking about the NBA Finals. And I think some of that reason, can you believe it or not? Because they're still talking WNBA as well. So the NBA isn't getting the play it should get on a consistent basis. The WNBA, you get more news that comes out, and that news seems to always surround Caitlin Clark. This time, not on the female USA basketball Olympic team coming up this summer.
Yeah, I think I've seen the morning shows. Some people, Stephen A. said it's stupid. First
Take?
No, not First Take. The one on Fox with Brew and Nick Wrong. Whatever that show is. They were saying, was she snubbed? I say yes, because is she one of the top 12 players? I don't know. That's up for debate. But when you look at Tarazi's going on 42, some other chick hasn't even played a game this season.
Yep.
But the biggest thing, not even those two, I would hang my hat on this. Who is the biggest star in the WNBA?
That's it.
Who's the star?
I don't like it.
It's not like, this isn't ladies basketball redeem team because they didn't win the gold the last time, or they didn't get a medal, like USA did years ago, and Kobe had to come back, be like, yo, we're winning the gold medal.
We got to get the gold, right?
They've won 7 gold medals in a row. Like, do they really need the best 12? Tarazi's been there a bunch of times. You got the golden goose.
That's it.
She needs to be on that team.
That's the problem with it. She's the golden goose. People continue to be jealous in that league. The tribesmen and women, as we've spoken about, continue to put the pressure on the wrong way, try and make it seem as if things that she does doesn't really matter. And the only reason why anyone's even caring now, even with their Olympic chances, knowing they're going to likely win a championship or another gold medal, no one really cared before. Now people are really caring, and they would have really had eyeballs on it again, the same way the WNBA has the eyeballs on it for the Olympics. The rest of the world would have been able to see what Caitlin Clark can do. And we might have gotten a chance to see how good her assist really can be when there's probably women who can catch her freaking passes and convert her assist. That doesn't happen in Indiana because the players just aren't that good right now. Might not be good at all anytime soon unless they change the makeup of that team. But she continues to take the high road. She continues to talk about how it's going to motivate her for the future and how she wants to be in the next 2 Olympic teams after this one here. And then there's still people finding a reason to call her names or talk about how she's not that good. They're always bringing up some obscure player, looking at numbers and saying, this is the reason why she shouldn't be there. And they have players who have better numbers than her. But on the other hand, they look at her numbers and say the numbers aren't good enough. You know what I mean? And it's insane the way it goes. She's had 2 30-point games. She's had multiple 20-point games as a rookie. And people are watching because of that and playing for a team that now has 3 wins. The Mystics are the worst team in the league, I guess, record-wise now. They hadn't won a game yet. But they don't want to give her shine at all. And she continues to take the high road. She's not the one complaining about the penalty or the fouls when they happen. The fans are complaining about the foul that happen. She's just taking it in stride and saying this is what happens. All of a sudden, the WNBA is looked at as a physical league when we hadn't heard anything too much about that last year or the year before. This is the year they're a physical league. Now they're trying to talk about Adrien Wilson being as good as she is. Well, she was good last year too. Why didn't you say anything then?
I can't comment, man. I've heard people say that the league has been physical for years. I don't know. I didn't watch no WNBA games before, so I have to take their word for it.
Yeah, but in these social media, yeah.
Go ahead.
In these social media groups, when people now want to try to get in depth, they start coming with these facts and figures and stats and everything from last year in the same groups because they're not just exclusive WNBA groups. They're either just sports groups or basketball groups. These same people are now talking about the WNBA all the time, whereas last year, these same players who were considered dominant last year, like Adrien Wilson, they didn't talk about it at all. And if you didn't watch or keep up with the WNBA at all, or if you weren't a sports person at all, you wouldn't even know who the hell she was last year. Now you're hearing about her, and they're pushing forward her stats, the same stats that she probably was doing last year, but they're only making it a point now because they want to counter whatever Caitlin's doing, regardless of what it is. They wanted to talk about how numbers don't really matter because you know why? Because Angel Reese didn't have the scoring numbers. She had the rebounding numbers, but she didn't have the scoring numbers. Before, the score didn't matter. Rebounds mattered. This is her crew. This is the tribal crew I'm talking about. Now when Caitlin gets 30 points, well, but it's just a bunch of points. She's not doing anything else. You know what I mean? The points don't matter here, but they matter then.
But that's not even true. She's third or fourth in the league in assists.
They don't want to hear that part.
At 6 foot, how many rebounds do you expect her to get? Although she did have a game with 9 rebounds.
Yeah. But, whatever.
She's just one of those players, like, she should try to make the winning play. But you mentioned Angel Reese. I don't know when she said it, but we may have missed it, at least not talking about it. She said that they're playing in front of sold-out crowds and, the whole thing, that it's not just Caitlin.
Yes.
It's her too. Angel, the only sold-out crowd you played in front of was the game against Caitlin Clark. All your other games are 6,000, 7,000, 7,000, 8,000. One sold-out game you played in, girl, it was against Caitlin. And that's why it was sold out. Come on now.
And I saw her game where I think she had an attendance of 8,000 when she was at home in Chicago. And then Caitlin in the same game, same day at least, or the game that was right before that or around that time had 16,000, doubled her score, 15 to 16,000.
The Mystics moved their game to where the Wizards played to accommodate all the fans for Caitlin.
Man, it's a lot of ego, but you're getting a chance to see some true colors. The people who do all the complaining about every damn little thing of being the ones that now are upset, and they're upset about everything outside of basketball. It doesn't matter about what's going on basketball-wise, because sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, depending on what the circumstances are. You know, if Angel Reese would have hit a 25-point game, trust me, we would not hear the end of it. Caitlin's hitting a 3-point game. They tell you how bad she is. See, she can't do this. This isn't college. But then the next time she is 30, it's college again or not. Tell me what the difference is. You know, I mean, it's always a story, different angle, and it's only reserved for her. And this is what we're getting. She's continued to take the high road. I know her fans could probably be obnoxious now because, hey, you know, this is the attention they want. And this is the attention the WNBA is getting. She's bringing the attention. We've seen people like Angel Reese. We've seen multiple people like Angel Reese in the past. They've come and gone. And then the people we've seen, she's not better than them in their capacity. She's not better than Brittany Griner.
No, she's not.
No,
my thing is, do you want people to care about the Olympics or not? Because, and even if Caitlin Clark was on the team, I can't say that I would watch. You know, I didn't know they won 7 in a row until I watched ESPN today. So I'm like, well, what am I going to watch? It's a foregone conclusion. And with so much talent, if I'm tuning in to watch Caitlin Clark, is she going to get that much time? But I'm not a fanatic like a lot of her fans are.
Yeah, they're fanatics because they follow since college.
I'm addicted to her college highlights, and I love the dime she throws and when she's splashing threes. I love it. But I wouldn't consider myself a Caitlin Clark fanatic, although she has grabbed my attention. But if you're involved with women's basketball, isn't that what you want?
Yep.
More people watching, more eyeballs, more attention. She's got the sponsorships. You bring her in, you know, maybe Nike gets involved or Gatorade or whoever. You know, it's all positive for the product. Did you freeze?
Yeah, you froze a little bit on me.
Oh, you're freezing on me.
Yeah, everything should be all right now, I guess. Oh, really?
You froze on me. Yeah.
I don't know what happened just now. Maybe the weather, because I know we're expecting to get some pretty bad weather coming over here. Is it still freezing?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. You know, but this is the attention they've always wanted. They're finally getting it, and they have the player who's bringing it to them in spades. But it goes back, and I can
now they don't like how they're getting. They don't like how they're getting it.
Well, we're hearing about. I'm going to go back to what happened in that USA Today article when that imbecile of a writer decided to say that the face of the WNBA has to be a Black woman, an African-American woman. Therefore, before Caitlin even plays, you're talking about regardless of what she does and what she brings to the table, she shouldn't be held up to any type of a standard because she's white. And now you're making it more about race than it is about basketball. And people just want to use basketball as something to get away from all the crap of the past or the crap that's going on in society. You know, you use sports as a diversion for what's going on in society. They've done it for years, decades. And this is where we come in. We got the same nonsense that becomes a microcosm of what society is going on today. And by them saying that, but it's the reverse, because before you always wanted to find the victims and you always find the same victims. Now you have a white girl that plays just as well as any other Black girl who's ever played this game, and they don't want it that way. And if you look at the comments of these social media outlets, you'll hear it. They don't try to hide it. There's nothing subtle about what they're saying. They're as blatant about it as possible, and they seem to be proud about it. In fact, they're angry and proud about it, of saying what they're saying, because they think it's hurting someone when it's really not doing anything.
I just got my friend Todd. We were watching the game Thursday night at the bar. I don't know how we got on Caitlin Clark, but whatever. He was telling me, you're one of those guys that says, don't tell me what you did, tell me when you did it.
Yeah.
In the championship game, she did such and such in the 20. She had 22 in the first half or whatever. And when the game was on the line, she didn't do nothing. I was like, Todd, now I am that guy. If you watch or you listen, I am that guy. You've heard me say that.
Yeah.
But you still have to put things in the proper context. She went up against 8 5-star players.
Yep.
South Carolina was a juggernaut. And this is what I told him. He's like, oh, they were picked 8th or 9th. I said, what are you talking about? They were undefeated. They weren't undefeated. They lost 3 or 4 games. I said, Todd, they were undefeated. And he's like, man, I'll bet you 5-1. If they weren't undefeated, you pay me 10. If they were, I'll pay you 50. I said, man, look that shit up. He looked it up. He's like, oh shit, yeah. They were undefeated. I told you, I knew.
Did he
I knew
pay up though?
I wouldn't. I told him he didn't have to pay. He's like, you didn't pay me. I'm like, what? Todd already said he didn't have to pay me. You don't have to fucking lie and say we didn't bet.
This is what we have on social media these days.
But I'm like, bro, I know they were undefeated. I'm not going to say something I don't know.
This is what we have on social media as well. You go to social media and you hear these people just saying anything. They're just hoping that you don't check them on it because they hope that you're lazy like they are when they don't try to confirm what they believe what they think they believe. They want you to just be able to allow them to say what they want and not come at them with the facts because most times they're not coming out with facts. They're so emotional about what's going on. Facts be damned. A lot of times it's facts be damned even when they're not being emotional. They're just people who don't like facts. And now you have someone like her that comes along and they just don't like that it's her. You know what I mean? When Juju finally gets into the league, I guess, and then Caitlin kind of opened the door for her because that's exactly that Angel Reese, what Caitlin now has opened the door for her and future WNBA players with the endorsements and the notoriety and all the eyeballs that should follow it. Then we can look at it and say, and probably accept it for what it really is. But they'll be much more happy when there's a black girl doing it or a non-white person doing it than they are right now when Caitlin's doing what she's doing. But she's doing what she was expected to do. And she's only getting better. She's still a freaking rookie in the first, quarter of her season? And she's getting better. And that team seems to now get a little better. Surprisingly.
I don't know about that.
The Mystics are horrible, man. They didn't have a win.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. It's hard to gauge. But they did beat the Sky, who have a few wins. But I don't know. But I was going to say Andrea Carter, and I respect Andrea Carter. She was saying, well, Tarazi, she played with this girl and she plays with this girl, so there's familiarity there, and this girl played with that girl, and blah blah. So, have you seen Caitlin Clark play? Did you watch her at Iowa? Are you watching her now? I don't care who her teammates are. She's gonna find them. If they're open, you're gonna get the ball. I don't think she needs any familiarity. She's that. Her IQ and her vision on the court is that high of a level. You're not going to just throw dimes by luck. You have to see the floor. You have to know precisely if you're going to throw a bounce pass or you're going to throw it over the defense. You know, it doesn't just happen by accident. She's not 4th in the league in assists by accident. You know, she wasn't getting triple doubles at Iowa by accident. She knows what she's doing on the court with the ball. So you put more talent around her in the Olympics. You mean she's not going to get more assists? Are you kidding me?
She's going to kill it. And women who can at least execute the assist. You get these assist opportunities now, and they're missing clear layups it seemed like almost all the time. Now, she did kick out to the three-point line a couple of days ago, and it was a three-pointer that was hit. But, yeah, man, she's going to be – and she's still, getting used to this team that she's with. And when you look at Diana Taurasi, you look at the overall numbers, I mean, outside of the turnovers, and she does shoot a better I think she's better at the three-point – no, actually, I think Caitlin's better at the three-point line. But regardless, they're close in that capacity. So they're kind of interchangeable if you wanted to put one in and take one out. But because of the respect factor, because of the age factor, Diana Taurasi's there. And now she's playing with Brittany Griner. So now they got themselves a couple of wins now that Brittany Griner is in Phoenix with them. So, we'll probably get to see a rivalry or a thing like that because Diana's been doing a lot of the talking about Caitlin, when she was out, and now that she has come in, she's been chirping, she's been saying a lot of nonsense. They're going to ultimately get a chance to play, and that's going to be another one of those big games that has nothing to do with Angel Reese. It's going to be Caitlin Clark against the elder statesperson and Diana Taurasi, who I used to really like coming out of UConn. And by the way, just skipping around from the WNBA, UConn is going to keep Dan Hurley, who decided to turn down the Lakers job, which I thought was a good thing, and at least go after that three-peat this year. And if nothing else, just continue to be a college coach until I think a better job comes along. I don't think the Lakers job is a good job for a coach like that coming into the league. Let someone else who's already in the league become a coach of the Lakers and put up the nonsense of not only the professional basketball that is different than college, but a pressurized school team like the Lakers or New York or Chicago, big city teams like that.
Yeah, we talked about it. I don't believe Hurley's a good fit for the Lakers as far as that as that roster is currently constructed. It's a bunch of older guys. How much longer is LeBron going to play? Is AD going to stay healthy? I believe this year he was the healthiest in most games he's played in a long time.
That's true, yeah, in a long time.
So is that an anomaly or is that the new norm? We'll see.
Well,
but there's a lot of things that have to be changed on that roster for them to be true contenders. And I don't know if Hurley's going to want to go through those growing pains, right? When he can go back and be like, man, I can win a three-peat.
A three-peat for real. And, you look at the team, the way it's constructed right now, then you look at the possibility of even Bronny coming as a first-round draft pick to the Lakers. Man, come on. This is another piece and another layer of drama he would have to deal with, trying to figure out a way to get this guy in the game when he probably doesn't even deserve to be in the league to begin with. But that's another story for another day. But I'm glad that Hurley decided to stay home in Connecticut. He's a Jersey guy anyway, man. Stay in that tri-state area, load up on some more championships.
Did you see the terms? Did you see the terms of the contract they offered?
Yes, $70 million.
6 years, 70.
6 years, 70. That's bro, for him to turn out that kind of money is serious. But you know what? After a certain level of money, man, it almost kind of sort of looks the same. I don't know what his deal is at UConn, but he's making over $1 million there. You know what I mean? But it's much more than $1 million in this game.
When you consider he would be the coach of the Lakers, there's endorsements that come with that as well.
Yeah. And a pressure out this world, though, man.
True.
That he would never see it.
Plus, I mentioned it last week. LeBron's the real coach, so.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Him having to match it with him. Just get JJ Redick and call it a freaking day, man. Isn't that the guy that LeBron wants anyway? Even if he's just going to be
hey, he might have hand signals worked out with LeBron. What play do you want to run? LeBron,
you know what I mean?
He'll point to himself. Just get me the ball.
I can't even imagine this crap. How could a coach tolerate that? And the money almost becomes, it doesn't really matter anymore with the money, man, to put up with that crap in your freaking mental health. That thing's going to be a mental health issue for him. But yeah, man, Dan Hurley stays at UConn, so we'll at least have a solid little college basketball career coming to football too, and that's coming soon as well.
We got to talk about Ryan Garcia getting.
Yeah, I'm about to say Ryan Garcia, and we got to talk about Adrien Broner. Adrien Broner losing and getting his tooth knocked out. Come on now.
I don't want to talk about Broner. Come on. Man. No.
But Ryan Garcia in the news.
I'm just glad he lost.
I don't ever wish that guy to lose. I don't dislike Adrien Broner. I just thought that he should have been retired for a couple of years now. Since the Maidana fight, he has not been as aggressive. He has not thrown as many punches. And he talked a good game before the Pacquiao fight. He went back to throwing 5, 6, 7, 10 punches around. This fight, a lot of the same, and had to come from behind. And boy, just got him out, embarrassed him. A nice southpaw, nice sharp style. Surprised me with his boxing skills. He's not an elite boxer, but we have to see that now against other elite boxers. Maybe this gives him that extra oomph he needs to become an elite fighter himself, because James Toney, until the Michael Nunn fight, he was looked at as a very good fighter, not an all-time great. Now he's an all-time great. He took that.
Really?
Once he started, he's not an all-time great. James Toney?
All-time great.
Bro, look, the all-time great could go 100 deep. And James Toney's certainly one of the greatest 100 fighters of all time. You think not? Jay Tony.
I think all-time great. I don't think top 100. I
Oh,
just think.
I mean, you know what? I actually posted that in the group that we're in one time.
If you want to say top 100, well, okay.
A top 100 all-time greats, bro. This game has been around so long. There've been so many great fighters.
We're supposed to be talking about Ryan Garcia, man.
Ryan Garcia is part of it. He's not one of the all-time greats. Yeah, In Trouble, Beverly Hills, Drunk, and more trouble for him. And they're going to press charges. What's going on here?
Arrested for vandalism?
Vandalism.
What is wrong with that dude, man?
Bro, I hate to be the one to say mental because I'm not a freaking doctor, but the thing that he continues to do over and over, there's got to be something wrong upstairs, man. Because 1 minute he's telling you about God, and next minute he's goddamn breaking everything up.
Yeah, I don't know. He was hospitalized too. Like, did he injure himself or did the cops rope him up?
I don't know what happened to him, man. Man, might have to get Baker acting the way he's acting, man. Come on.
I don't know, man. The kid might need help. I hope he gets it.
He does need help, man. And, when everything kind of went down the Haney fight, he got all of this attention, the attention he's been looking for, regardless of the circumstances. And then the dirty test pops. And then he's still sticking to his guns. And he's still proud about what he had done to Devin Haney. And then his fans are still looking at it as if it's a legitimate win, when it's a juice-induced win, a PED-induced win. But then the mental part of it, though, the things he's been saying and the things he's been doing, it doesn't match up. You're talking about being spiritual, then you're talking about being religious, and then we end up being in this spot. You're drunk, and that kind of lends itself to what we're seeing drinking at weigh-ins, whether it's root beer or real beer, whatever, man. He just has so much going on in his head. I don't think he should fight anytime soon. He might need to get evaluated by some real professionals before he's allowed to fight again. In addition to this little lame 6-month layoff they're going to give him, or suspension they're probably going to give him, but it should be longer.
Have they announced it?
Oh, no. I'm saying I was hearing that people talk about 6 months. 6 months. That's what fighters take off anyway these days.
Did they vacate his victory?
Huh?
Have they vacated his victory?
Now, victory, I thought that goes without saying that it should be vacated. I mean, with any other fighter. I mean, Mike Tyson had a no contest fighting Orlin Norris because he had a weed.
I just haven't heard it. Yeah, I just haven't heard if it has been.
Yeah, not yet. I don't know what's taking so long. I thought that'd be a no-brainer. They had to take another piss test. Taking all this time. But yeah, man, it's unfortunate because I don't never disliked Ryan Garcia. And I didn't root for him to lose, but I'm thinking that he would lose because I didn't think he was too interested in the sport, and you're selling yourself short, and you're selling fans who pay money to watch you short. That's the way I look at it. I look at it as, I don't like this guy. He needs to get hurt in the ring. Who does that? I mean, there's certain guys you want to see lose, but not to the point to where it's going to be detrimental in their freaking career.
I don't know about that because that's how I felt about Broner. I wanted him to get stretched every time he was in the ring.
You know what? After that Maidana fight, man, the lingering effect of the Maidana fight leading up until now, I think that's satisfaction for a lot of people who didn't like him because it was Maidana who really embarrassed him more than anyone's embarrassed him in the ring. And it seems like that's the lingering effect that leads us to now to where guys who are kind of fringe contenders possibly are doing what they're doing to him. It was a one-loss guy. I mean, Boyd is a one-loss fighter, but he made it look pretty easy. There wasn't a lot of action, but this guy was pretty sharp, and he's a southpaw. And then he knocks him down, knocks his tooth out. Call it a career, man, but he's not. I think it's a money issue now.
And man, that's too bad because he got some bags during his
but he's so-called prime. We know how these guys are these days. They have no idea how or what to do with their money. I mean, even Floyd Mayweather with all the money he's has or had, and I remember the day when he had over $120 million in a checking account, and he's talking about he tossed to Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett's first thing would have been like, "What the hell are you doing? $100 million in a checking account." When the FDIC only insures up to $250,000. The way these banks have been failing, your bank fails, bro. All you get is $250,000. Right. If you got $120 million in a freaking bank, get out of here with that. Yeah, but by the way, did you hear about Deontay Wilder and his issues with his fiance?
No.
Now looking like ex-fiance. He's been allegedly, according to her, physically abusing her, and it's only gotten worse since he's lost to Fury, and even more so than with Joseph Parker. And even now, this is the straw that broke the camel's back, his last loss. He's been beating her and then allegedly attacked her son because he came into the relationship. She already had a kid. They two together have a 6-year-old daughter. it's a mess, man. And man, I don't want to see Deontay go out like that now. And mentally, man, going by what he has gone through with Fury 3 times and looking at some of the hits he had taken in this last one, bro, man, this all screams out like CTE. You don't want to say that, but the beatings he took, man, I think it's reasonable to say something like that. It's a possibility.
It could be, man. I hope it's not true, but
she gave the restraining
I
order.
don't know, is there going to be criminal charges?
Well, she wants a restraining order against him, so I don't know what else is gonna happen after that. And she wants to get away from him, and she's gonna obviously get the bag, some of the bag. He has 3 houses that she talked about, and these guys don't learn, man. And allegedly he's been warned by other Big Baby. Allegedly warned him before about this type of chick years ago. I'm like, bro, I think even 50 Cent mentioned her years ago. But guys just let their eyes do too much of the work and not their brain when it comes down to this. And they have so much more to lose than these women who just walk into relationships with nothing but issues, and even their own kid that's not yours. And then we got these other issues. She just comes, leaves, takes your money, take her kid, and then takes your kid because the daughter's hers too. It's his too.
Right.
Man, if he's going crazy now over that, man, I won't be around this cat if it goes down like that, because I saw what it did to T.O. in his fight before Josh Taylor, how it really destroyed him. And when those things got cleared up, he fought a completely different fight against Josh Taylor. And she did this the day before the fight, 31st of May.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
wow.
31st of May, she got this restraining order.
That's messed up, but he shouldn't be putting his hands on her neither.
That's first and foremost.
You gotta pay the consequences.
He could be paying the consequences, paying the piper, and everything else, man. His bank account's gonna get cleaned out over it. I just hope this doesn't lead to other things with him, man. Depression. Because if you have any type of brain injury, man, depression is probably one of those things that happen as well.
I can see it like not ending well, unfortunately.
Oh man, the bronze bomber, man. We joke about the way he fights and the way we didn't like that he didn't really live up to his skill set what he should have had. But man, at the end of the day, he's still a human being. He's still a guy that entertained millions across the world in a sport that we follow so damn much and love the hell out of. Man, he's just one of those guys, man. You just don't want to see bad things happen to, especially near the tail end of his career.
He probably shouldn't have fought Fury 3 times.
It begged for it, though. In boxing history, it begged for a trilogy. The first fight was a draw, which I thought he lost.
He got his ass whipped second fight. And the first fight, he only won 2 rounds.
That first fight gave, in his mind, you think about what he's saying. The first fight, in his mind makes him think that, he probably should have won because he was saying that afterwards, even though he got wiped out in that fight. Those 2 knockdowns is what saved him. And I didn't think the fight was still close enough for him to even get a draw, even after 2 knockdowns. The second fight, okay, he could lose that fight. Now he really wants revenge because he got an official loss, his first loss. So I can see how the trilogy plays out.
Yeah, but I'm just speaking for as far as his boxing career is concerned. It would have been better off for him not to fight Fury the third time for sure, gone another route. I don't even know, did he take enough time off after that second fight?
He's talking about a 4th fight, though. He was talking about a 4th fight. Bro, call it a career. He says he still knows his soul. Bro, that soul is almost gone,
Maybe
man.
he can fight James Toney.
Bro, don't even James Toney. Man. After I saw James Toney and Razor Rudder get at it, man, I don't want to see any damn man without a shirt on anymore. Come on, man, fight in that ring. It was terrible, man. But anyways, man, all we can say right now is good luck to him and what he's looking forward to, his hopefully retirement. And, in boxing, you can retire now, then decide you want to fight again next year. And you don't skip a beat and put yourself in harm's way again. You'll get yourself a stiff and fool's gold kind of opponent, make you think you can still do what you can do. Then you come back and fight someone worth a damn and you're back on your back. And you shouldn't have done it after all. And Frank Martin and Tank fight this week. This is fight week.
Oh,
come on now. This is this week, bro. And I think that Frank Martin, bro, he has something to offer. People are just dismissing him. He's a skillful fighter, another Philly fighter, man. We already know what comes from Philly. So he's not afraid. So we'll just have to see when the fight happens. But we'll get a chance to talk about it a little bit on Thursday. But until then, he's Bias Trav, and the Sports Bag Bros podcast is coming to an end on a Monday after a plethora of sports news this past weekend. But until Thursday, deuces.
Adios.